Good. So the story continues now, and Glenn has come to the point now where he's in hospital and he's had all the surgery, and now there is a huge moment of realization. So let's take the story from there.
Yeah, thank you. I think what I'd love to say at this point is how important it is for people, for all of us, to have loved ones with us on these during these kind of experiences. Look, if we don't have anybody around, I know for sure that we are not alone. But I would just like to honor my mother at this point, because I was unconscious for about 5 days, and she sat with me the whole time, and on about the 5th or the 6th day, the gangrene had taken over this leg so much that they had to actually amputate, and my poor father had to sign the form and say, you've got to amputate my child's leg, and all the rest of it.
Terrible.
But so that was horrible for them. But once that had happened, of course, my health, my vital statistics just improved immediately, within hours. My mother said it was the most incredible thing to see the color coming back, everything, my whole body just started responding very positively since the gangrene was gone. But she also sat there quietly whispering, don't worry when you wake up, don't get a fright, you've only got one leg. Don't get a fright when you wake up, you've only got one leg. She kept repeating that to me.
Mama.
So of course when I came blinking back into the world, the first thing I did was run my hands down and just think, oh, okay, so this is a big bandage, and it was a bit tough because I was a dancer for 7 years. I was a underwear model, dare I say.
What?
I was. So my body was very important to me, and I was in the gym 2 hours a day, and so those were the days. So that was I didn't realize how much of my identity was wrapped up in my body. This was the big first realization for me, because suddenly you go out this and you go, okay. And then I also thought to myself, oh, I'm quite lucky. It's quite long. I don't know why that went to my, instead of a short little stuff, I had a long stuff. And I don't know what difference that actually makes, but I thought, oh, well, it's not too bad. Oh, but no knee. And then I realized, okay. And thus began the realization, and then my immediate response was, okay, I'll get over this. I will survive. I will make this work. I will somehow find a way. It was a very immediate mental decision to survive. It's okay, I will deal with this somehow. And it did, and there were lots of jokes and laughter in the hospital afterwards. My mother took great delight in coming into the hospital and flinging her handbag onto the space where my leg should be, and I'd go like this and then my little stump would jump up, and then she'd kill herself laughing, because now, it was just, it was really interesting to see how family and love and laughter helped immediately, but still very raw, very much on the surface. And then I remember looking out of the hospital window and looking at the Magaliesberg Mountains in the distance, and I thought, we can actually do anything that we want. There is nothing stopping us. I realized then that fear was the thing that was standing in our way to doing and being anything, and that fear is nothing. It doesn't exist.
Yes.
Trains exist, buses exist, but fear doesn't exist. But yet it is fear that prevents us.
That is the truth.
And it seems so simple, but it's very profound.
Yeah, it is.
There is nothing to fear, because when your time is over, it's over. And there's nothing you can do about it.
And there's more at the end of
And there's much more. Your time in the body, I would say, is over. But so that was massive for me. And of course then the peace came with that. But because I was a bit ill-equipped, I tackled my life with the tools that I knew at that time, which of course is mental fortitude, a good attitude. You read so many books that tell you to have positive thoughts and be strong and all of that, and it actually gives me the creeps, because you can't always have positive thoughts. I mean,
no, you're not.
You can't. We're humans. We have thoughts that come up, and so there's a deeper place to work. But anyway, be that as it may, I used all my mental power, and I left the hospital 4 days after waking up out of the coma, on my sticks. And I dived back into life, and if I look at the people around me at the time, that's how we all tend to deal with trauma or loss or hectic situations, retrenchment, loved ones, whatever. We decide we must be strong and we must overcome this.
Yes.
So I did that, but of course that's not sustainable. because you're trying to make yourself bigger and overcome something.
That's right.
So for the first 2 years, I put all this effort. I went straight back to work. I mean, it wasn't even 2 weeks after coming out of hospital. I was back at work. I was doing copywriting, and and I just carried on. But 2 years later, I woke up one night and wanted to go to the bathroom or something, and I forgot.
Oh.
And I stepped out of bed and I fell on the ground, and then I just realized that I'd actually not been dealing with it. I'd just been working and doing and on my sticks and thinking along the lines of, well, I'll survive this until it gets better. Like you would a broken leg.
Yes.
But in that night I realized it's never going to grow back.
Yeah.
This is you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And you will always be hopping to the fridge and not being able to take your, it was a massive realization. And of course there was an internal implosion. All that mental fortitude finally came to an end.
Oof.
And I remember crying my heart out for about, I don't know, maybe close to a week.
Oh.
Just
devastation.
not even, no energy, it was so sore, and there was so much pain, and it was like, I just thought this is not worth it. I actually really was very suicidal. I just decided that what's the point? And suddenly all the suppressed reality of it suddenly came out, and that was that was far tougher than the amputation, the shooting, everything that had preceded it.
That moment.
Because it's very low. You feel completely powerless, and the question was always like, why?
Yes, and if only.
And if only, all those mental machinations,
games.
and it actually just makes it worse.
Really, it
by
does.
far. And then I kind of had a little bit of a 2-year-old tantrum.
Yes,
And I threw myself onto the bed, which was already a mess in any case. And I was like beating my fist, and I was getting very angry at God and going, and I was like, why is it? I had no more tears, but I had anger. I had terrible anger. And just like a little tantrum, I started breathing. Like this. And I breathe, and I breathe, and I breathe, and I breathe, and I breathe. And then the more I breathe, it all dissolved.
I've never forgotten that, you see.
And then I lay on the bed and I just breathed. And
breathe.
I just breathed. There was nothing else. It took every ounce of my strength to just breathe, but it made such a difference.
Oh.
It's kind of when you just give up.
Yes, it is.
Very often we grow up out of desperation, or exhaustion. And I was just too tired to fight anymore. Too tired to be strong. Too tired to carry on. And I just breathed.
Pretend.
Yes, exactly. So I breathed. And then this beautiful, that same stillness, that very same peace that arose when I floated out of my body, and I realized I was breathing in, I was breathing in more of my soul. That's not really true, because our souls are with us, but I was allowing my body to experience that, my higher self.
Yes.
And that was where I felt completely held. And then I knew, okay, I have to do things differently now. Yes. I am busy seeing myself differently. And the whole context of where I place Glenn in the world had changed dramatically. So I think in modern day terms, people say your ego, my egoic identity just dissolved, because there was just nothing left. And it was just sheer stubbornness that made me suffer so, because if we make that realization, we don't have to go through that whole pain, trauma, suffering thing. You can actually just choose it.
And you see, that's a pivotal note, because everyone's going to go through a pivotal moment in their life. Guaranteed, no one's getting through this life without a big episode.
Yeah.
So, if you were to give a piece of advice about entering a pivotal moment, and what would you say to someone, how to be in a pivotal moment?
The first words that come from me are, remember who you are.
Oh, that's it. That's exactly it.
Remember who you are. You are not this bag of worries and thoughts.
That's exactly it.
And in fact, you're not even your body.
No, you're not.
That's also an illusion. So remember who you are. And just remember that we are actually not even separate little beings. I used to imagine us as being little bits of source or little bits of God,
Yes.
broken off and come to have this experience. But over the years, I've realized that not even that is true. We cannot ever be separate.
No.
It is impossible. There is no separation. We are actually just one. We're not even a thing, but we're just one.
We're just one. We're one.
There is no thingness either. There's nothingness. Oh gosh, that's going to make us all feel better. There's nothing out there, guys.
There's nothing but everything.
There's nothing but everything. You see,
Yes.
that's exactly it. It's only love. It is only love and only light. And then, so if you remember that, then you just feel a little more settled, and you have a little bit more energy flowing through you to take the next step. That's all you need to do. And actually, sometimes you don't even need to take the next step. You can just lie down and breathe until it all, dissolves. Because in fact, what needs to dissolve is not the reality of the situation. The situations are always harsh, and they always will be. This is a tooth and nail, flesh and blood world. It's going to be like this. It's a jungle out there. But what you can dissolve is your fear around it. And once that goes, then you're just back in source. Back in love. I think, honestly, that love is the opposite of fear.
Yes, it is.
That's what I've realized.
That is so beautiful. So another piece. Oh my goodness, we're so blessed to have you Glenn, give these, because your journey is the journey of everybody. We're all in the same journey.
Everybody has that. Mine's just a bit more visible, but everyone's lives are filled with trauma. It's supposed to be like that.
It is.
And when we resist it, that's when the suffering arises.
That's right. Oh, let's come back and talk about
Okay.
that.